Coming up next on Arizona Horizons Journalists Roundtable, we'll have the latest on special state driver's licenses that allow for commercial air travel. And election law changes abandoned last year under threat of voter repeal are back piece by piece. The Journalists Roundtable is next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizons Journalists Roundtable. I'm Ted Simons. Joining us tonight, Mike Sunnix of the Phoenix Business Journal, Howard Fisher of Capital Media Services, and Bob Christie of the Associated Press. Well, the controversial Real ID bill is advancing in the legislature. Let's define terms here. What is this all about and why? What is it all about? Let's go there.
Well, the state is in a bit of a pickle on this because the feds back in post 9/11 under the Bush administration passed new rules on driver's license and IDs and able to get on airplanes and into federal buildings, trying to improve those metrics and standards for those. And so states have to adopt those. And Arizona's kind of one of the last ones to do that. And so next January, if we don't have this approved, you have to show a passport, a driver's license to get on a plane. Driver's license won't be allowed. So the legislature is trying to figure out how to pass this thing. You have conservatives that don't like this because it's from the feds, national ID card. We've had past legislation back when Janet Napolitano was around that they didn't like this either. So now we're trying to figure out something at the end to get this passed. How much are we going to assess people? $15 for a new license? We're going to charge them at all? How long the license would be good for? I think the current proposal under the standards would be 8 years instead of this long until you're 65 years old. So it really changes how we would get driver's license here, and you're trying to maneuver us. And I think you're going to see some panic among business folks, among travelers if we don't get something passed, or maybe we do a special session after this session if we can't get anything.
Are we going to get something passed?
Well, I think we will. And the way that Bob Worsley is doing it is he's saying we're not going to create Real ID licenses for everyone. We're going to create an optional, and we're not even calling it Real ID. Now remember, it's like Common Core is not Common Core. It's a voluntary travel document, which will be a driver's license, that if you want, and if you're willing to provide the extra documentation, you're willing to have a license that has to be renewed every 8 years and has some security features and a little gold star on it, you'll be able to use that at the airport to get on the plane. But as Mike points out, if the feds stick to it, now we've had this deadline pushed back.
Right.
If the feds stick to it, come January, you're going to go to that TSA gate and they're going to laugh at you when you pull out your Arizona driver's license. Maybe.
Well, yeah, maybe. That probably won't happen just that way. I mean, you got to figure there are 7 states right now that don't have Real ID compliant licenses. On January 1st, the TSA isn't going to suddenly say nobody can come on the airplane. And right now, if you show up at an airport and you don't have proper ID, they have ways to double check and to make sure. But what this proposal would do, as Howie said, was allow a voluntary opt-in for a license which has all the security features the feds say and has the database connectivity with the federal government that they want to be able to double check that people are real. And there's several other features too. Now the two issues back to 2008 when this legislation was passed that barred Arizona from participating are cost. That was Napolitano's issue, was it's an unfunded federal mandate, but from the conservative Republicans it's privacy issues, as Howie mentioned.
And the question, and this was the other thing that came up, there was a concern because the new passports have what they call an RFID chip, radio frequency identification chip. So you go buy something and all of a sudden it says, hey, Howie Fisher just passed by here. So Bob Worsley made sure to tell everybody that this license, unlike the new passports, is not going to have a chip. So it's not going to be, like Michael's boss here has chipped him so they can tell where he is. But they're not going to be able to track you.
Why again are we doing this? What is I understand privacy concerns, okay, but we're talking about security concerns as well under a system that was instituted under a Republican, relatively conservative president.
Well, I think a lot of the conservatives that don't like this see a national ID card. I think that's what they see in some kind of database where the big government's going to track you and stuff. And I think you could see another major split between the right wing of the Republican Party and business folks. If you're going to try to think about locating a business here, and you have worries about whether you can travel here, whether the workers can travel here, if we're the last ones to do this, if the wheels fall off of all this could be a big image hit for the state. But yeah, it comes down to kind of that big government 1984 fears that you see on the right.
And let's also understand, for talk about being this enacted during the Bush administration, So was No Child Left Behind, and the conservatives think that he went over, that he was sort of a Manchurian candidate on that one too. There is, as Michael even points out, and we've all seen this split, there are two Republican parties in this state. There is a business Republican Party that wants to do things that make Arizona business friendly, that do not want things like what Indiana just enacted, the kinds of anti-gay laws as that. And then there are the intellectually pure, quote unquote, conservatives, less government, pure private enterprise. We don't want anybody telling us what to do. And it's the same fight we're seeing over things, even like the plastic bag ordinance that we're going to talk about.
And indeed, we have a governor, though, who wants to be all things to all Republicans, at least. So what is he going to do with this kind of problem?
Well, David Gowan, the Speaker of the House, came up with a miracle solution. At 11 o'clock on Wednesday night, they decided that they would take Bob Worsley's Real ID bill, add on to it a provision that requires Arizona to ask for a waiver from the federal government. Therefore, you're actually going through the motions of saying, hey, we don't want to do this. Remember, we really want to do this. We have a law, but we're going to pass one. And if it gets rejected, then we'll have the opt-in.
Now let me tell you what else is in that bill, because this is the way things get built at 3 in the morning. There's also a little provision. Back in the 1980s, during the Arab oil embargo, we put in something that says we can drive 65 and a 55 limit for a $15 fine. Well, David Stevens says, that's really good. So we're going to take every speed limit on every highway and say, yeah, it says 75, but it's going to be a little asterisk say, but if you do 85, it's only a $15 fine. This has all been packaged into an ADOT omnibus bill, which also deals with privatization of things like the driver's license manual and selling off pieces of property. They have packed so much crapola into here that it's going to be one of those things that's going to sink or swim on its own.
Is there too much crapola
I think there really is. I mean, the Stevens proposal is vehemently opposed by the insurance companies because there's no driver license points. And so they say, how can we keep Ted's cheaper than Howie's? Because Howie speeds all the time and Ted doesn't.
Oh, sure.
If there's no result for it. The Senate killed it. And then, of course, like I said, 11 o'clock on Wednesday night, David Stevens figured out a way to attach it to a bill that must pass.
All right, bottom, is the governor going to sign the whole 9 yards? Are you going to sign this thing?
I think if it comes to him this way, he will sign it. I think that the ADOT has things that they want in there. Does he really care about the $15 fine? I don't think so. He wants this because the backup plan is if he doesn't sign this and they go home and they don't come back until about the day this is supposed to take effect, he's got to figure out, does he tell businesses you can't get on planes here? Or does he have to find some way to do an executive action to create an alternative license? And that's fraught with all sorts of issues.
All right, let's get moving here. I know that we talked about this so much in the past, last year, regarding election law changes and this big, huge omnibus kind of a thing and all of a sudden people said, wait a minute, we got to get some signatures. We got to fight this thing. So they dumped it. They don't want to fight this thing. It's back, but it's back in little
pieces. Yeah,
yes.
It was chopped up, right, and now it's kind of come back to life. And they're bringing back, and the biggest thing is the so-called ballot harvesting, because Republicans down at the legislature think that somehow Democrats are collecting all these ballots and bringing them in, and there's some kind of fraud involved with that. And so this is kind of one of the most controversial parts of the larger bill, and now they're bringing it back again. And it kind of fits into this Republican, I don't want to say myth, but thought that there's some kind of widespread voter fraud that Democrats take part in, that unions and college students and all these cohort groups that make up Democratic constituencies are somehow conspiring together that I'm going to go pick up these guys' ballots and fill them out for them and take them down to the ballot.
And there's a lot more. And part of the reason I think they're splitting it up is if you do a referendum, if everything's in one bill, you can do a single referendum.
Sure.
You've got 6 bills, you've got 6
Sure.
referenda you need. There's some other fun stuff. For example, they've set up a system. Right now, parties nominate people based on the percentage of people registered to the party. Well, they've set up a little system that says we're also going to count the independents. So for Republicans, the number of signatures for a statewide race is going up from like 5,500 to 5,600. For Libertarians, it's going up from like 139 to 2,600. Now, it's not because we want to keep Libertarians off the ballot, even though J.D. Mesnard admitted during discussion 2 years ago we think the Libertarians kept us from winning congressional seats. No political chicanery here.
And same
The
thing
other-
with referendums and
same-
those sort of things, right?
exactly.
Initiatives and.
Referenda and initiatives would be under what's called strict legal scrutiny, which means if you have a period out of place, if you have one word that's out of place, it gets thrown out. Whereas before, as we saw with initiative several years ago, there was a minor technical flaw between what was filed with the Secretary of State and what was circulated, and the judge looked at it and said, it's substantial compliance, it's voter intent, we're going to accept that. So we have three major issues here that are all designed to limit voter ability
Now,
to make
let me
changes.
tell you something else making its way through here, which is not part of this. A couple of years ago, they decided we need to raise the amount of money that politicians can get from special interests. Because if you were running for the legislature, it's like $418, and we need to take that up to $4,000. And that wasn't enough. Now we're going to take it up to $5,000 because Lord knows we've had 25% inflation in the last year, even as they're working to kill public financing. You know, but no, nothing to see. There's nothing political about this.
Yeah, but I want to go back to this piecemeal thing because I thought I'd heard from those in charge, those pushing this, that, oh no, we're not going to come back piecemeal on this. We wouldn't do something like that.
Well, if you look at the quotes, and I specifically asked an awful lot of lawmakers last year when they repealed this, Democrats are really scared. You're just going to put this back together. I personally would never do that, but I'm not going to make any promises that a member of my party won't. And that's what's happened this year. I mean, we've got 4 major provisions in this bill that are, as the Democrats say, being reassembled like Frankenstein.
But it is some of the same people. Mesnard is involved, for example, on the one to make it harder for libertarians to get on the ballot. And the other thing in terms of understanding the promises made, it was sort of a promise, I'm not going to do that this year.
right.
Oh, we've had an election since then. You know, all you oxen free. It doesn't count anymore.
And the governor's likely to sign these.
One would think
one
that
by
the
one.
governor would sign them, yeah. And back to the ballot harvesting real quick. Both parties do this. The Republicans do it. They have parties. A.J. LaFaro was picking them up at a fundraiser last year. The Democrats are just much more successful. They go out into low-income communities where voter turnout is low. They go door to door. They say, fill out your ballot. We'll make sure it gets in.
And last point on this.
Yeah.
Because of this bill, then we must have many examples of fraud involved here, correct?
No, Don Shooter kept talking about things that were happening, which actually didn't even get affected by this bill. But here's the really fun part about it. Shooter's argument is that somehow these groups, labor unions in particular, have an interest in the outcome of election, and therefore we don't trust them.
Right.
You know what one of the exceptions is for people who can pick up multiple ballots? Candidates and their spouses. Now, obviously, they have no interest in the outcome of elections.
And Senator Shooter said he's heard third hand that they collect all the ballots and then they put them in a microwave with a
What was that all about?
Well, you steam them open, and if you're a Democratic operative and it's a Republican ballot, that one you don't.
And how many folks have been prosecuted for this?
0 as far as I know.
So we're hearing about it, but no one's doing anything about it?
Well, this is anecdotal. I asked him, I said, okay, so did you talk about any of this stuff to the police about early ballots or
Yes.
requests for early ballots we dropped? Well, they looked and nobody wanted to talk about it. Isn't that
They
convenient?
know it's true. They know it's true.
It's like Stephen Colbert. It's truthiness. It feels right.
Well, I think Republicans still think of 1960. They think of Kennedy and Nixon. They think of Lyndon Johnson. They think of these. They see these big city Chicago politics, and they subscribe it to stuff that's going on here. But you see on the left, they always talk about Republicans and voter suppression, opposing motor voter laws, these things. This really accurately fits into that theme. This is nothing but to keep the voting pool small.
And if you look at states like California and Oregon just passed a law that was an automatic enrollment in
Yes.
vote for automatic election enrollment as soon as you turn 18. California is now considering that. They're Democratic states. They want a broader
Well,
base.
yeah, they smoke marijuana there too.
All right. We got some gun bills advancing now. Yes, talk to us about what we're going to perhaps see at every public building in the state.
Yeah, speaking of bills and ideas that have been born again at the legislature, they keep bringing these guns in public buildings bills back, and you can take them into libraries and animal shelters, city halls, those type of things, or you can put in a TSA type checkpoint. With
For about
metal detectors.
$100,000
About
a pop.
$100,000, and I'm sure all these little cities and towns, can afford that. And so this could go back again. This has been vetoed before by Governor Brewer.
Before, it's been vetoed like 3 times, hasn't it?
Yes, and this is something I think you could see Ducey also.
But
also, Nick.
there is an argument for this that they're saying, look, right now, you know how you keep guns out of public buildings? You put up a sign, and you put up a locker. Well, if truthfully nobody's searching me, if I want to bring a gun into a county building, if I want to bring a gun into the state senate right now, nobody is checking me out. The argument is for people with a CCW permit, concealed carry permit, who've been through a background check, been fingerprinted, we should let them come in to defend themselves. You know, the good guy with a gun can take out a bad guy with a gun.
And they're trained to defend themselves?
Well, they're trained. Well, and see, the training used to be a lot more.
Right.
In fact, the training has been so weakened that several states have said to Arizona, we're not going to honor reciprocity for you. You know, the training in terms of the judgment calls and all that has been a little diluted over the years.
Nevada will not accept an Arizona concealed weapons permit.
Well, you have a couple things conspiring here. You have gun rights, which they love down there, the Republicans, and they get to pick on cities, which they love to mandate things to cities. We always talk about how much we dislike government federal mandates like Real ID, but every opportunity they seem to take to tell cities what they have to do, they do. And especially on something on a gun issue where you have cities that might want to be more restrictive on gun rights, Republicans at the legislature are kind of jumping at these opportunities to tell Phoenix and Tempe and Tucson what to do.
And real quickly, this idea of a compact with other states, if another state does something, all of a sudden we're beholden, we can't do any, or our hands are tied?
Yeah, it's one of those lowest common denominator bills, which if you get into a compact with, say, Utah and maybe Montana and these gun rights state, and one of those states decides that they want to lower the limits, then everybody would be obliged to do so under the so-called compact.
Is that something that Governor Ducey's going to want?
Well, I think that may concern him because the way it's set up, even the attorneys in the House said, now wait a second here. This would preclude, if we get into a compact, this would not only preclude future legislatures from changing law, this would preclude voters from amending the Constitution.
That's exactly who it's aimed at.
And that's exactly, you're right. And the folks from the Citizens Defense League say, well, gun rights trump the rights of voters to amend the Constitution. Well, I'm not sure I'm buying that. I think this one, if the governor is looking for a bill to veto to show that he's got some independence, if that gets to him, I think the compact's going to be a problem because you can only get out once every 5 years, or if he can get every other governor to agree to let us out.
Speaking of the governor, he spoke regarding Common Core, spoke to the Board of Education this week. What?
Yeah, the governor campaigned on, he disliked Common Core. He thought it was a federal improper federal overreach. And so there's been great anticipation of, well, is the governor going to call for the repeal of Common Core outright? Is he going to tell the legislature, send me the Common Core repeal bills? Well, he went in front of the State Board of Education and he talked for about 15 minutes. In the last 3 or 4 minutes, he says, okay, now I'm going to talk about Common Core. And what he said was, I want you to immediately initiate a review of Common Core. I want you to keep what's good, and the things that don't fit with Arizona, I want you to consider changing. He did not call for an outright
kicking the
ban.
can. Kicking the can on this.
What does not fit with Arizona? I mean, what does that mean?
There is no definition. The governor did not define any part of Common Core that he wanted thrown out. He did define things he wanted to keep. Third grade reading standards, multiplication standards for third grade. You got to understand that there are levels for every grade. You know, you have to be able to do, as you get older, you have to be able to do critical thinking and analysis. You have to.
And I think what the governor understands is these are standards. This isn't curriculum. This isn't what book we're letting the kids in Sierra Vista read, which became an issue. This says that by 7th grade you should be able to do this with your English skills. By 12th grade you should be able to do this. And so he's saying, look, let's review them. Now, what's really fascinating is he gave this speech, which was, nice and everything else. Afterwards, he sat down, Bob and I were there, and he said, A, the bill to repeal Common Core standards, which is up in the Senate on Monday, is unnecessary. And B, the AZ merits test, which is being administered now to students, is here to stay, and that's linked to Common Core.
Yep.
So for all the talk about that he hated Common Core, somehow all that seems to have fallen off the table.
Well, it's a balancing act. We talked about the 2 Republican parties. The business folks love this thing. They won Common Core nationally and in the state. They were big backers of this. And you got folks on the right, Diane Douglas and kind of the anti-Common Core crowd. And Doug is trying to split the difference on this and other issues. And so the best way to do this is, we're going to review it. That gives him cover to veto this thing if he needs to. But he's not saying he's supporting Common Core, and he's going to pick the good thing and cherry pick things. I think this is going to be a hallmark of his time as governor is trying to balance economic development and the business folks and the state's image versus a totally Republican, conservative controlled state capital.
Right. And to be fair to the governor, I mean, he said, listen, this thing has become a political mess. There is so much confusion about Common Core around the states that we've got to look at it. It just makes no sense to let it keep going the way it is. We have to have a rational, open, and public review of it. Get all the parents here, all the teachers here. We'll look at it step by step. I mean, it's a real logical way to go about doing it.
One other point. He just got to name 5 new members of the board. Now, one of them had to be a university president. Well, there aren't a lot of choices there. But of the other 4, he did name one guy who hates Common Core and one guy who was involved with actually crafting it. So he's trying to do, as Michael says, right down the middle.
So could we conceivably see standards that are almost a blueprint of a copy of Common Core, but they're going to be Arizona's standards?
They're going to be called Arizona's College and Career Ready Standards. I think I've seen that
And
name
everyone
before.
will be happy about that.
It'll be interesting, and hopefully they do this during the off legislative session during the summer when Howie and I have our doldrums, and we can go and watch some of these public meetings where the people who don't like Common Core can get up there and actually lay out, okay, exactly what I don't like, this particular standard I don't like. Can we change it?
Right.
Because it's become generic.
Well, one thing that's going to press the governor is this is a national issue. This is a presidential issue in the Republican primary. Jeb Bush is for Common Core. You got a lot of folks on the right that are very opposed to it, and so it's going to be in the spotlight. So even if he wants to kind of do the review and punt on this temporarily, it's going to keep popping up to him.
Okay, there was a bill that the Republic reported regarding a real estate investor with fees to record certain property deeds, and he really wanted some help there, and he was getting some help there, but it looks like the legislature is not going to give him that help.
Nope, the House turned him back twice. This is an investor who, during the real estate downturn, there were, across some of the developing areas of the state, there were whole subdivisions that had been, all the ground had been done, but then the developer went belly up. This guy went in there, snapped up 3,000 empty lots that had all been bulldozed for the tax money, which is pennies on the dollar. And then he went to the recorder's office and said, I want to record these new deeds. And the recorder's office said, no problem, it's $50 a deed. And he goes, well, $50 times 3,000, that's $300,000. And he said, give me a break. They offered him a break, and he went to the legislature and said, you know, write me a bill. And someone carried the bill that would cap it at $500. So instead of having to pay, you know, a couple $100,000 to register each of these individual deeds, he would have had to pay $500.
And the thing is, he should have taken the deal. He kept thinking, "Oh, I'm going to be smart. I'm going to find 31 House members who are willing to do this." And see, now the Pinal County Recorder says, "Excuse me, we're back to our $50 a pop
It
deal."
sounded like from the story he basically told the Pinal County Recorder, I'm going to change this, and you can't do anything to stop me.
And shame on us for not catching it, and shame on not shame. Kudos to the Republic for seeing this small little under the radar bill that had sailed out of the Senate. You know, there's 1,500 bills out there, and most of them look innocuous. And
It's interesting that most of the county recorders and people that work for the county that weren't happy about this. Russell Pierce came out. Russell Pierce showed up on this one and said he thinks it's a good idea.
wow.
Well, Russell Pierce is trying to find a stage again, I think. I mean, I get his emails, and bless his heart, and he's still ranting about different things, but I think Russell is feeling a little irrelevant these days.
Well, I thought it was interesting because he does work in the county recorder's office, does he not?
Well, we
County
think so.
treasurer.
Oh, is it the treasurer's? That's right, it's Hoss Hoskins. That's right, the
that's
treasurer.
right.
I'm sorry, not the recorder's, excuse me, the treasurer's office.
Sorry. Well, they almost got it through the House too. That's the issue. I think there was 2 votes that kept it. They got to vote it twice, and both times they voted it down, but only by a couple votes.
We've got about a minute or so left here. This business of not letting cities ban plastic bags.
Well, the city of Bisbee, we got to worry about them. Puts a 5-cent deposit fee on bags. Same thing as happened in California. Tempe's looking at it. Flagstaff is looking at it, saying, "Look, if we can keep people from doing it, get them to use the recyclable, bring their own bag, we can keep it out of the landfill." Well, all of a sudden, the Grocers Association said, "Oh my God, we can't do that." So, and once again, saying we know better, guns, whatever it is. The House is passed a bill saying no, cities can't regulate paper or plastic, cannot mandate recycling, and in fact cannot tell building owners to have energy audits on their buildings.
Is there does anyone note the irony of a legislature that wants the federal government to leave them alone, and yet they can't leave municipalities alone?
You're not understanding sovereignty. Come on, Ted. This is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
10th Amendment.
It's
We
not-
are sovereign. We
Yeah,
exceed the
That's right.
federal government.
Their argument would be, listen, there's the states
Who created the
created the federal government.
Right.
The states
Yeah,
are over the
I
cities.
get
It's
all
partisan
that.
and ideological because
Yes.
you see Phoenix wants to follow New York City, Madison, Wisconsin, and Seattle and require building owners to report their energy consumption. Tempe wants to follow all these liberal states, and they see these as liberal democratic ideas that they want to block.
I understand the 10th Amendment, all that kind of stuff, but I'm just saying the irony
Well,
inherent in
The
that.
irony is inherent, and it goes on and on and on. I
All
can
right.
come up with lots of examples.
We can't go on and on and on. We got to stop right there. Good to have you all here. Thanks for joining us. Monday on Arizona Horizon, we'll hear from TGen's Deputy Director on the latest developments in cancer research, and we'll take a look at the White House Conference on Aging being held this year in Phoenix. That's it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thanks for joining us. You have a great weekend.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.